Talk Today is brought to you by Fidelity Bank. For all your banking needs, visit fidelitygroup.com. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Also brought to you by greenturtle.ky. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile. Saving lives today.
Oh, I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Another terrific, thankful Thursday's edition of Talk Today as we invite you to be a part of our conversation. Honored to be able to welcome our colleagues already came into our studio to focus on reporting in these particular times that we're all facing, embracing, enduring, and hopefully enjoying. Our news director, Ms. April Cummings, together with our colleague Shande Gallego will join us. So please stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Hey, listen, I know we're always grateful when Miss Susan holds the fort, but hey, we got an excellent team behind the scenes that makes it seamless. So if he doesn't mind, you hear him in the morning, you hear him in the evening playing all the good songs, none other than DJ Silver Fox. So special public hello. Thank you for doing the great work behind the scenes. Now, our news director, Ms. April Cummings, together with our colleague Shande Gallego, join us. Ladies, good afternoon. Ms. April, how are you?
Good afternoon. I'm doing very well, Sterling. Thanks for having us on.
Oh, it's great, man. And I must say, listening to you and all of the, whether it's Dion or Carsley or Shanda, and even, as Ms. Felicia joins us, when I hear you guys talking, I keep thinking, okay, the news is coming on now. It's just remarkable information that you get, but the perception. So I'm excited, and thank you for joining us. Ms. Shanda, how are you?
Hi, Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Now, I don't want you to give the people any impression that you're shy, because we know that you can hold on the mic, whether it's the singing sensation that you are, or you're promoting, through AY. The Mena Community Outreach. So we've had you as a guest in the studio wearing multiple hats in the past, so no shyness from you today, okay?
That's right. I'll try not to be shy. Good afternoon to you and to April, Miss April, and to each and every one of you listening today.
All right. Well, my mom's listening, so tell her hello too, okay?
Okay, hello.
I just kidding. I can always count on her. But Miss April, seriously, when we think of the work, I had an interesting discussion with some individuals earlier, and for some of us, this has been an opportune time to sort of be pensive, reflective, introspective, to do some reading, research, even some writing that we haven't because we got some time on our hands. And then individuals like you guys with the jobs that you have, it's probably been busier than ever. You're working. Tell us about it. I mean, let's start with you as a new director. Past as a journalist. So what has this been like?
Well, to be completely transparent, as a young child, I was very paranoid about, the end of the world as we knew it, right? So I spent a lot of my childhood and early adult years, for that matter, reading a lot of science fiction and books about this very sort of thing that has happened. Now, its shape is different. So to be frank, when this started coming down the pipe, as a human, I was terrified at first. I just went, wait, this is what I was afraid of as a kid. So I had to actually take a moment and step back and say, hang on a minute, we're going to have to turn the journalist hat and the reporter hat on and look at things more objectively. And it was a challenge, certainly, to put my emotional feelings to the side and just focus on what do people need to know? What do people need to know? And the challenge of that is no matter how much you think you have prepared for things, when they actually happen, it is different. The shape of things is different. The tools that you thought you might use end up not working the way you thought they might. So no matter how prepared you are, you have to accept the fact that things are not going to go smoothly in the beginning. So much to my shock and surprise, when everything started happening, there was a potential case at my kid's school, and I had to self-isolate. In retrospect, maybe we didn't have to, but at that point, the thought of me contaminating the entire radio station and shutting it down did not seem appropriate. So here I am, the news director, and I'm at my house, and I'm thinking, how am I going to do this? Fortunately, it did provide an opportunity for me to work on some of the infrastructure. So how do you work remotely? How do you get news on the air if you can't be in the studio? So there were some pros and cons to that. My family did note, though, that I, in the beginning, probably worked 3 times as much as I normally work. Because I was constantly trying to figure something out. I was trying to read and research and understand what was happening. And the amount of information was overwhelming in some respects at first. And so I think those early days for me were really about trying to find some sort of system that I could function in and get the job done.
I certainly appreciate that and maybe sharing that human perspective. But Ms. Shanda, what about you? I mean, what are your initial thoughts, please?
Yes, Miss April said it perfectly. It's kind of weird to say Miss April. I'm trying to be all nice right now. But she said it perfectly in that there were a lot of moments of stepping back. As everyone would know, 2020 has been an exceptionally busy year, especially for us here in the Cayman Islands with the earthquake that had hit, the landfill fire. We had a parliamentary sort of breakdown, and then, of course, COVID-19. And during those times, there were a lot of moments in the newsroom that we really had to take a step back. We had to take a step back and really look, as April mentioned, at, what are the systems and practices that we've been using. And now we have to start to change it up a little bit because everything is different now. Everything calls for a difference in the system that we've been using and the practices and infrastructure as well. And for me, I know that I feel like I'm still a bit green because every day is a new day in a sense, and it's trying to navigate through the different challenges that arise, and then being able to work together as a team to try to figure out a rhythm and try to look at how we could best stay within that rhythm during these times, especially during these times.
Okay. Well, something that you shared earlier that I think not many people initially, maybe hopefully they now recognize it, that the amount of work that we're all, I would say all of us are probably doing has increased significantly, tripled as you shared, probably more so. Reading the research, trying to wrap your minds around, well, what is it you're doing, get those systems, structures, protocols in place, but equally just trying to understand what is happening. Speak to that, because I think sometimes your families would see you up, not necessarily you only, but see you awake at all hours of the night, not sleeping, and perhaps pulling information from everywhere. It could be chaotic for the individual, could be unsettling for the family, it could be daunting in relation to do you get these tasks done, whether you're reporting the news or whether you're working in the financial services trying to serve clients, doing the things that you probably ordinarily would do, but in a different environment on the different times.
It certainly isn't, particularly for people of my personality type. We, we do love new challenges, right? It's exciting to even a bad new challenge still comes with there is a degree of excitement about learning, growing, changing, and adapting. And of course, in the middle of that, there's crying and frustration and pain and irritation and all these things you have to work through. But one of the things that I think I learned through this, particularly the first, I would say, 4 weeks, is that some of the basic routines that you should be following in life anyway are routines that you need to try very hard to maintain. They may have a slightly different form, but you need to do them. And yes, my hair never looks great, but it stood up on end for 2 weeks. It was awful. So I thought, gosh, I have to take time to walk the dogs and eat breakfast and plan the day and spend some time in meditation and reflection and prayer. Things that perhaps the first couple of days, I threw them out the window because I think it was a little bit panicky for me as well. So I think, for those watching, the people in their household, as a parent, you kind of don't want your kids to see that ugly, if you will. Yeah. But what I believe my kids did see is that in spite of the fact that I struggled, over time I improved. And I think that's a good lesson for me, too, to say, hey, you're not always going to be perfect. You're not always going to handle all of this chaos well. But what you can do is work each day to be better. And so I think that in that respect, I feel like a lot of us have shown some good things through the middle of all this.
Indeed. Ms. Shanda, as we go through the break, any sort of thoughts you might want us to meditate on while we consider the commercials?
Yes, I speak to what April is talking about in terms of, I've always known that our role is quite an important one, and I believe that even during these times, it's critical that we are cemented in our work at this point in time, But, the idea of working smarter, not harder, is so crucial during these times, and knowing that first and foremost we're human beings, and like April said, walking the dog is something that, we sort of have to be more conscious of, in terms of self-care, in terms of allowing us as human beings to sort of navigate through this crisis. And so taking time out for self is so important as well, before, we commit to the job and to the work that we do day in and day out.
Indeed. Well, when we come back to maybe we can continue that discussion. And all who are listening are more than welcome and invited to call and share a thought with me and ask a question even. Think of it this way. This is a learning experience, but an opportunity to understand specifically what life is like as a journalist, especially in radio in particular. So 949-8037, or if you're a Flow subscriber and access the Flow toll-free line at 1-800-534-8255. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Green Turtle, modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile, saving lives today.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Bring a little bit of luck to your house with Lucky Slice from America. Burgers, steak, and the all-day American breakfast. From Europe, fish and chips, pizza and crepes. And from Asia, sushi.
Breakfast, lunch, or dinner, 7 days a week, delivery or pickup, 10 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. In these difficult times, we can all use a little bit of luck. Keep calm and stay lucky.
Minimize contact. Make your credit card payment by phone. Pay only for food. No delivery fee. No service charge. Certain restrictions apply. Call Lucky Slice Pizza to place your delivery order now. 949-3456.
Order from Cayman Creperie, Mojo Sushi, and Lucky Slice Pizza. Call 949-3456.
You know, when we look back at our teens, quite often we come to appreciate our parents' efforts to keep us safe. What was restrictive then becomes sound reasoning as an adult. The current curfews are much the same. Temporary restrictions for our community with your long-term health and welfare in mind. We will mature through these challenging times and emerge stronger. Stay responsible now so that our future can be bright. Hashtag Stay Home Cayman.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you for joining us. And we invite you to call and share your thoughts. Certainly listen along, learn, engage, interact, be informed. You know, at the end of the day, it's about information sharing. Honored that our news director, April Cummings, together with one of our reporters in a fabulous news department, Miss Shanda Gallego, both are able to join us. As we were, going to the break, I was just thinking of this idea of the reporting, and I'll share with you, even just trying to prepare for the talk shows, whether we have a guest schedule and we're talking about something, you want to prepare. But in this instance, if the discussion seemingly, at least across the Western sort of world and the media that I've been looking at, where there's an English component to the language, it's all about this scenario. Everything revolves and relates around it. So April, you're sharing, you're constantly reading, trying to learn more, and something you read in the morning may be contradicted or somehow expounded upon in the evening and then changes the next day. How has that played out for you?
I found that frustrating, to be honest with you. So, one of the things, and forgive me if I digress slightly, but one of the challenges, and I hate the word challenge right now because all I hear is challenging times. Life is always challenging, but it has been particularly challenging of late. One of the struggles I have had is that there is... It is important to be as accurate as you can be. You do your best to be as balanced as you can be. But this is much like other types of natural disasters, if you will. Yeah. There are certain things that you normally do, right? You go talk to people, you interview them, you find out what their experience is. It's not just the who, what, when, where, why, but also the people stories. And it has been much more challenging, I think, to do the people stories in an environment where the journalistic teams are so small. And so you've got to take giant chunks of information and basically distill them into the key facts as best you can in a very short period of time. And as you're doing that, the other part of you normally is monitoring, multiple channels of what's going on. But when your team is this small, and I don't just mean Radio Cayman, but I mean all the media entities that are left in Cayman are relatively small. You end up feeling like you're dog paddling a lot. You're just moving as fast as you can to try to keep your head above water. And in this instance, because Cayman is so small and we all know each other so well, you've got hundreds of questions firing at you while you're trying to listen to information that's being said. Oh, and at the same time, people are yelling at you because you asked a question that was said while they were messaging you and calling you and asking you to ask questions. So it was definitely been a challenging situation. And I think the other component of this is that, for me anyway, I tend to be a bit cautious when something feels it's almost, if people are so extreme about what they're saying, I need a minute to go check that what they're saying is actually true. So just because someone says something doesn't make it the truth. And over time, I realized it's so difficult to find the time to go verify all the information that what happens is some of those stories don't actually get done because the next day we would have a press briefing with new information and new details. So it's, you know, and Shanda can certainly attest to this as well. It's a lot to juggle, but can't complain about it because this is what we signed up for. I mean, we didn't sign up to be journalists for, I mean, I wanted it to be for just the good days, but that's not how it works. It's really when there is a crisis, you want people who you can trust to do their best to give you the most important and relevant information at the time. And in this instance, the most important thing, it was really public safety and information about public safety. So that had to be our driving force. And we are a government station. We are the voice of the people, but we are also a government station. So we have to listen to what they're saying carefully and do our best to communicate that perspective as well. And I think that does take, you know, a bit of practice, to be frank.
I may ask you about that, but we'll see. Let's actually, Miss Shanda, any thoughts you want to add, or even, hey, listen, it's Thursday. You know, tomorrow is a holiday as well. No, just kidding.
There are no holidays in news, I realize.
There are no holidays. That's right. There is no rest for the weary. Dwayne, what I'll say is that, as I've mentioned just before the break, that journalists have become even more critical in their role to deliver information during these times, especially during COVID-19, to inform the public. And you've seen it across newsrooms here in Cayman, regionally, internationally. The pandemic coverage is a priority. And I think, as April mentioned, the struggle or the challenge that we're facing is the balance of the coverage and the balance of the news, not just the pandemic, but or not necessarily creating, but also being able to cover the stories that are good stories, good feeling stories that can give us and provide some bit of hope and some bit of a positive outlook to what we're dealing with. And that's been a balance. April and I, we go back and forth all the time as to what sort of stories are we making priority for the day, and what stories, you know, we can put on the back burner, you know, so to speak. But it's the struggle that we've found at the very beginning, at least, is allowing the pandemic coverage to take priority, while also giving a sense of normalcy to the news in terms of the feel-good stories, the human interest stories. And then, you know, the idea of looking at our content, making sure that we're basing our stories on truth, accuracy, doing our fact-checking, making sure that we're accurate and credible, making sure that we're ahead of the game when it comes to false information, misinformation. You know, earlier on, we were getting a lot of calls about rumors and different sort of misinformation, and always, as is the case everywhere and all the time, we are trying to stay ahead of the game of ensuring that we're providing timely information that news that is immediate, but also news and information that is true to what we represent, not just opinions, not speculation, but making sure that it's balanced, it's deep, it's efficient, it's sufficient for our listeners at best. And if I may also add that, you know, it's not just the news that's providing or trying to meet the demand. Because it's great, and not just externally but internally, we have updates, headlines. We have a lot of different arms within the radio station that are working tirelessly behind the scenes to make sure that daily we're providing the information, whether it's through the rebroadcast of the live briefings, whether it's the news headlines on top of each hour, whether it's the community programs, whether it's our Talk Today shows, or, you know, For the Record, all these different aspects that we provide from government that we're sort of breaking down for our listeners in many ways and many forms, so that they're constantly provided with the information that is accurate and true to what we're trying to provide. So the challenge is great, and again, we're, like April said, it's 5 beautiful ladies nominated in the newsroom at Radio Cayman, and so we're trying as much as possible and as best as possible to provide, again, the information that is wholesome, that is worth listening to.
that idea of it objective, impartial, and like I said, timely. But there were three things that I would like to maybe ask of you in terms of the reporting. And maybe first start with the idea, April, the last comment you shared about we're a government station. Reached out to a couple of my contemporaries across the Caribbean, in particular the Eastern Caribbean, and given their perspective there as to what a government station means. Now, I kept it within the Caribbean region specifically, right? On obviously, and then what my perception and perhaps others in Cayman is a station that's funded by government, but not necessarily a propaganda machinery
I would
as we
agree
see
with
in
that,
the Caribbean.
Sterling. There not once in the time I have been here that I
Right.
can recall. I mean, it's been, I don't know, 4 or 5 years now. Not once has a government department, or head of department or entity tried to control the output that we put on the air. They haven't. But it doesn't mean that I don't want to make sure that I fully understand the message that they're trying to communicate. Now, look, I would do that with anybody. If I was doing a story any place, anywhere, I want to really understand the message coming from both perspectives on an issue. And here in particular, I think we have an enhanced responsibility to provide information. And that's a little bit different than just providing a news story. A news story can be about anything, anywhere, anytime. But if the government has information that it wants to communicate to the public, I do think that I have to give that the respect that it's due. And I may not agree every day with everything that's said or disagree for that matter. But I think we have a responsibility to ensure that when the government says, here are the 5 things that you really need to be doing right now because we think that's important, I need to share that with the public. And the public also has a right to disagree. But you can't disagree if you're not aware of what's going on. So I think our role as an information source is quite valuable.
Indeed. Well, respectfully, let's try to stay on the good side of Paul because Susan gave me excellent instructions not to let me get out of hand. We're going to break the tape, but when we come back, let's continue the dialogue, please. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
The Wharf restaurant is back open to the public. After donating over 20,000 meals during the lockdown, we are energized and proud to have been able to help. Book your waterfront reservations today and enjoy live music while watching the sunset on our spacious and breezy terrace. The Wharf has fresh fish and fresh local produce options every day, as well as an extensive wine list. We are family and kid-friendly with a kids menu and tap and feeding every night. We are looking forward to welcoming you back. Call 949-2231 to book your table today at The Wharf.
These are stressful times. We can all use a little break from the stress.
I got ice cream for you.
Did you know, according to Science Times, eating ice cream in moderation can help reduce stress? You're not dreaming. You heard correct. Ladies, gentlemen, and kids alike, Cayman Ice Cream is here to save your day. With home delivery of the best homemade ice cream on the island. Quality assurance guaranteed. $10 half-gallon tubs of crepe nut, rum and raisin, vanilla, cookies and cream, banana, strawberry, and Guinness. Call 323-0861 to place your Cayman Ice Cream order now and feel the stress melt away. Indulge in your dreams today. Cayman Ice Cream, 323-0861.
Cayman Ice Dream is also available in all supermarkets.
Dear students, we know that you miss your friends, being outside, and most of all, coming to school.
And we hope that you understand that everything happening right now is to keep you safe from harm.
You are our priority. You are the future. So even though this is a very tough time, we believe in you to be the leaders we know you can be.
To stay focused and doing your best work, even when no one is watching.
To be helpful and respectful to your parents and guardians at all times.
To be
kind and thoughtful to everyone around you.
To always be thankful, even for the little things.
And most of all, to remember to keep in touch with us because
we are here for you. Love your teachers.
A message from the East End, Edna Moyle, John Gray, Layman E. Scott, Red Bay, T.O. McCoy, West End, and the Lighthouse Schools.
Talk today. But I do have some questions.
Talk today. Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you for joining us. And as you're listening, if you want to contribute, well, the phone lines are there for you, 949-8037, or toll free at 1-800-534-8255. April Cummings, together with her colleague Shani Gallego, joins us as we're looking at, reporting in these times. And before we continue, I had two other questions I want to ask, but maybe respectfully, Miss April or Miss Shanda, is there something else that you may want to add into the discussion, Ms. April?
Well, I don't want, it came to me, one of the biggest, for me, most difficult aspects of COVID-19 has been the not just that the physical distancing per se, but the fact that so much of our work for me is about reading body language and seeing people in the face, and even by traditional phone. We do a lot of radio by phone, but that's usually after I've already seen someone or met them for the first time or can see how they're doing, and I write a better story that way. And so one of the challenges of COVID for me has been some of the distance between me and people's facial expressions. I can't see them. And when we are on Zoom or Skype or Google Hangouts, the quality of the picture is so poor that it is hard to interpret by the body language what people are intending. So I hear the voices, but the other part where someone shrugs or looks at you a certain way or rolls their eyes, I can't see any of that. And I find that very, very difficult in
Shanda,
my line
stop
of work.
rolling your eyes.
Shanda rolls her eyes at me all the time, so that's not new.
I just kidding. We do have a call online, though, respectfully, Ms. Shanda, before we ask. Let's join our caller. Good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good morning, Sterling. Good morning, ladies. Danny Coleman, Hazard Management. How you doing?
Hi, Danny.
Hi, Danny.
It's more of a comment. I mean, again, communications is so critical in any emergency code. Obviously, it's been a very long haul one, and we're just entering the hurricane season. And I just want to commend you. I know it's a very, very big task, 24/7. You have to activate and be ready to communicate to the public, and that you're just doing a fantastic job. And just to keep up the good work, it really is a brilliant support to the National Emergency Operations Centre, but we really are incredibly grateful to you all to be such great communicators, to offer a voice, verified information, and getting the word out there. So thank you for everything you're doing. We're really grateful.
Thank you, Danny. But of course, we want to thank you as well, because one of the challenges of doing this in general in life is you have to have people who have the knowledge and information willing to talk to you so that you can basically disseminate it well. And because you've always made yourself so available to us, even if it's just, I don't understand what I just heard, can you help me make sense of this? You have been amazing at that, and so have many, many, many people from the NEOC and government in general. When I don't get it, I know that as stupid as it may sound, I can ask the question and get an answer that will help me clarify it for listeners. So I'm really grateful for that.
Well, have a great day again. Teamwork to make the dream work. And again, thanks to all of you. Really, really appreciate it. Have a great day.
Thanks, Daniel. Thank you. And that was, once again, Director of Hazard Management, Cayman Islands, Danielle Coleman. And again, April, yes, we have to thank her and her team because, like you said, the beauty of this, of all of us working together is the accessibility of the information that we're getting even more now. Let me emphasize, even more now. And that, we're required to leave our homes and to report in difficult circumstances. It's a little different here in Cayman, obviously through the measures, the social distancing measures and all the other restrictions in place. But the beauty of what we have seen transpired is that there is a great sort of accessibility with the government leaders and officials in giving us the information. And then when we don't understand, for April, you and I, we go back and forth, what does this mean? To be able to for them to break it down for us, and then for us now to provide it to the community and to the general public what has been said, because a lot of times, even for us as journalists and reporters, we don't always get it all the time. And so it's great to have that perspective and breakdown from those that have the information, that are, bringing the information to the forefront daily.
And I don't want to give the impression to anyone that means that we're not paying attention. We generally are paying attention, but the amount of information some days that is, sailing through, I found that it can be overwhelming at times. And there's a certain point where you stop processing information quite as well. And that's actually where I think the greater community has been helpful to me. I may not love it when 10 of you send me a message at once, all angry because I didn't ask your question exactly the way you wanted me to. But what you have done is also provide me with a sense of, here's what's important to you, and here are some of the issues that we need to be paying attention to on your behalf. And I think that's also one of the COVID has brought some good things for me, a sense of understanding about certain aspects of my work that I had sort of become disenchanted with. And so I reconnected with the greater why. Why does this matter? And it matters because I'm not going to sit around and spread rumors all day. I'm going to do my best to get the best information I can to you. And sometimes it's on the air, sometimes it's off the air. But I feel like, weirdly, COVID has helped some of us remember why we're here and why we do what we do.
Yes, I agree with that. And it goes back to what I was saying in terms of the role that we play. We are the vehicle of information, and the public's trust in the media is on the line, not just with this pandemic, but just, in general. And the idea of knowing that while we're seeing a spread of the coronavirus worldwide, we're also seeing a spread of misinformation and disinformation. And so the importance of making sure that we get the right information, that we get it out there, that obviously, yes, meets the demands of the public in terms of time, immediate action, but also making sure that we're careful in what is being provided and asking the why, not so much the what, but the why, breaking it down and allowing us to get a sense of it, for an understanding for ourselves. I think that's the most important thing, is when we can understand it, you guys can understand it so much better. And another thing, too, you mentioned the volume of questions and calls that we get. A lot of times when it comes to the briefings, now not the daily briefings, but when we have the briefings, asking questions is important. Asking the questions, those questions are important. Sometimes they may sound redundant. It may sound like, they make no sense. In college, I was told, ask the questions, even though they may oftentimes not appear to be sensible ones, but sometimes those are the questions that give us the information that we're looking for and that we need, and sometimes that we probably didn't even ask for, but they provided. So you never know, and our job is to make sure that we're pulling it out from our leaders, from our officials, as much as possible, so that we can give the story as much substance as possible.
And don't forget, we're radio as well. So just because someone read something carefully off a long piece of paper and said what they had to say in 4 minutes, they may think that they've addressed the questions. But to be frank, I can't run 4 minutes of a statement in place of the entire newscast. So, for the general public, what we will do is we will ask exactly what they've just said sometimes, in an effort to try to get them to sound more relaxed or more comfortable, or to paraphrase it, or to make it more concise. And that is part of our job. One of my very dear friends and I got into a little bit of a dispute about this. I said, look, it's not my job to be at this press conference to look good and throw things at the government across the table. My job is actually to pay attention to what's happening in this press conference as best I can, and put stories together for news, so that when people listen to the newscast, they are getting at least the most important high-level issues from this press briefing. And I think people did struggle with that a bit. They weren't sure what our role was. And that may be different for print media and for other outlets. But for us, for radio, our main core is we are trying to find out what the most important things are and pass those on to the public in a succinct form in our next newscast or next headline.
Mm-hmm. Well, when we come back from this next, news headline, we have a WhatsApp that we would like to share with our listeners. I think it speaks to what we are, but we also want to ask, two other things about the reporting, especially in this time, the idea of the role of journalists and journalism, and then maybe something speaking to the sort of scientific nature with it. So, Ms. April Mashanda, certainly appreciate you guys engaging us for a little bit longer, and to our listeners, join us after the news break.
From district to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Bracken, Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman, one radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have, on the island.
Your voice, your choice.
It is in the best interest of the people of these islands.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. The Scholarship Secretariat advises all returning overseas scholarship students intending to travel back to university for September that they must register with the emergency travel site at exploregov.ky/travel. Flights are currently being organized to Miami and Heathrow for July and August. For more information, email the Scholarship Secretariat Unit at scholarships@gov.ky. In international news, British Airways is selling some of its multi-million-pound art collection to raise cash to help it through the coronavirus pandemic, with one work believed to have been valued at more than £1 million. BA has seen a collapse in air travel and is set to cut thousands of jobs. Statues of Confederate leaders and the explorer Christopher Columbus have been torn down in the U.S. as pressure grows on authorities to remove monuments connected to slavery and colonialism. The movement has been sparked by the death in police custody of African-American George Floyd. Keanu Reeves is set to return as Neo in Matrix 4, which follows 2003's The Matrix Reloaded and The Matrix Revolutions. Reeves decided to continue with the franchise because he says it's a beautiful script and the story resonated with him. Lana and Lily Wachowski created the original 1999 film, which is now considered iconic in the sci-fi genre.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Your voice, your choice, your radio.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you for joining us as we invite you to call, share, and be a part of our continuing, information exchange. The opportunity exists. We have, our good colleagues, April and Shanda, our news director, April Cummings and Shanda Gallego. We do have a couple of callers online, my good colleagues, as we just go straight to the phones. Good afternoon, welcome, and thanks for sharing.
Good afternoon. Thank you to your guests. Really interesting show. I know that April Cummings has worked in the U.S., and since most of us get our international news from one of the major networks in the U.S. with our feeds and availability down here, I wonder if she would comment on what she thinks and how she feels about the polarization of the media up in the States. There are certain channels that support the right and certain that support the left, and it must be challenging to keep the editorial content out of commentary here in such a small market.
I have lots of opinions about the polarization of media in the U.S. There's definitely more than one reason I'm at home, but I will say this: one of the issues, I think, with cable news is that, yes, it was each of the media entities looked for a target market and hired people and created content that focused on those target markets. And that, for me, yes, I get the business component of it, but it always did disturb me that I didn't feel, I just didn't like that many opinions in my news. From my news perspective, I think I would like to hear from both sides, but I would like to hear a little less with the adjectives and the opinions and allow the people to make their minds up for themselves. Now, I'm not really talking about the discussion shows, but more any news broadcast itself. But over time, what I've seen is that the commentary has taken over the news on many of those outlets. In Cayman, of course, it's a challenge to keep not only two opinions from only one side in or out of the equation, but your own sometimes. But that is the nature of the beast. So you just have to try to focus on watching yourself and watching your content. A lot of, again, I said what we do at Radio Cayman is information-based. So I feel that makes it a bit easier. If you're focusing on facts, it's a lot easier to say, here's what's going on, these are the different perspectives, and allow the public to make its own mind up. But the polarization always disturbed me, and I saw it getting increasingly worse over the years. Interestingly enough, though, at the stations that I worked for, they were local stations in different markets in the U.S. I didn't see as much of that in the local news. Where I saw it was more on the cable news broadcasts.
All right. Well, thank you very much for sharing that. Anything else you want to relay? Okay, well, let's join the other caller. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for sharing.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon, sir. Afternoon. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. Good conversation going on there today. And, my thoughts go back to, 1976, in the environment that when Radio Cayman came on the air, and to what it is today. And I think politics was mentioned in the full mention for narrative. When in 1976 we made the suggestion that we wanted to cover the upcoming election, and a big the cry what around, ooh, you can't get involved in politics. Well, we said at that time, we have to establish something here. It's a political world, and while we don't want to get involved in partisan politics, I don't think we can serve the community and not, report political news. And, make a long story short, when you convince them that, we could do the job and we could report the election results and get the job done. In fact, I think when I made a suggestion, we didn't even have a telephone interface. You think about that. And we were saying that we were going to cover the districts as the results came out. Well, once we figured that we could do it, we had to get cable and wireless involved in the operation. And I recall Reggie Nixon, I think Oliver Hill and Greg Anderson, they were the kind of top technicians there at the time. I talked with, it might have been either Pastor Rose, who I think he was at Cable and Wireless then, or Wattler. And they said, well, I'll get them to come over and talk with you. They came over, we discussed it. And anyway, we figured out a way. Actually, we had to build the circuit right there in the studio where Paul is sitting now. I sat there and drew the circuit out to Reggie and them. I said, you think we can build it? Yeah, I think we can. So, but it was a huge success. So I think the job that you people are doing in the newsroom is it's one heck of a job. It's a good job, and you're serving the Cayman Islands public, as I think Radio Cayman has done over how many years now? 44 going on 45 years, I guess. You know, in a very efficient way. Not to say that there hasn't been sometimes that there have been ups and downs, but I think that the environment that we have to operate in now, and it's a challenging one. And I think April, you and the crew there are doing a good job in keeping the Cayman Islands community informed on what's going on, as I think Radio Cayman has done over the years that it's been in operation. I recall, I think probably one of the busiest days that Radio Cayman newsroom has ever seen. And I guess it was 1978. We only had two news editors at that time. And Mr. Miller, Dorn Miller, who was a chief news editor, actually, he was in London at the time doing some work over there. And the other news editor, which was Pastor Borden at the time, I think, had a family emergency. And it was, in fact, I remember it so vividly. It was an October day, rainy October day, and we got word that a plane had made an emergency landing down in Governor's Harbor. And, well, how are we going to handle this? Rex Rankin, who was still with us, he was the financial person and the sales. He came in and he said, "Lucky, can I do anything to help?" I said, "Yeah, you can do something to help." I said, take this pad and go down to Governor's Harbor and just write down what you see. You come by, just give me whatever you see there. Just give me the bullet points." And I says, "We'll get a story on it," and so forth and so on. And that afternoon, when the 6 o'clock news went out, believe you me, I think both of us was quite, and the other people was also contributing, Lomax and Cheryl and a bunch of them doing all they could. I think once the 6 o'clock news went out, I put my foot up on the desk somewhere and says, "Oh, boy, what a day."
I think we relate to that.
We all can relate to that, Mr. Banks. And I do really appreciate, and for those of you who don't know, Mr. Banks gave me my first professional radio job, and then he almost fired me for reasons we shall not discuss with the greater public. But do you know that at that time, it was the standard for getting from being an on-air announcer into the newsroom was an impossible mountain to climb almost. The standards here have always been very high. And that's because there's a great deal of pride and responsibility, I think, that the staff of Radio Cayman have taken in the product that they put out. Yes, of course, we're not perfect, and there are days when things do not go the way we would like them to. But we do take that to heart. We care very much about what our listeners are receiving. And in today's age, where people can get information anywhere, anytime, any way they want, just about, those of you who are loyal Radio Cayman listeners, we really appreciate you. We understand that you have a lot of places you can go to get your information from. But we care, and we're thankful to you for staying with us.
If I might, next opportunity to perhaps share this message that came through and ask again. Well, first off, Mr. Banks, if you still wish to stay on in VE, please, feel invited to do so.
I would just, before it
yes, sir,
coming through my ears, just say something about what the last caller said about what's going on up in north of us here. Like what April shared, when cable television or cable television came on, the whole sphere of journalism, that is broadcast journalism, sort of shifted.
It did.
Because it went from reporting the news, being a news person, and being the eye of the community out there wherever you are, to editorializing. And really, cable news as they call it, is not news. It's a bunch of people editorializing on what their opinions are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe there's a 30% that may be very liberal publicity, 14% news context in what you see on cable news. I remember this, I guess, was how far back, just gone up probably in the early 60s. The early 60s. There was actually he had moved through the print media ranks from being one of the top what term did it put? Anyway, he wrote a column for a newspaper within a newspaper, but it was syndicated all throughout the North America. Gabriel Hita, and he came into television a little bit, and this would have been in the probably 1968. Yeah, I think it was 1968 election in the States. There was a television station which I was connected with Miami at the time, was very politically biased against one of the presidential candidates who actually won. And Gabriel Hita was an old, he was quite an old, seasoned news person at the time. He said to me, "Young buck," he says, we don't have long on the air here, because if this candidate wins the election, this station license, which in the States, the station or license is right on, but it's 5-year period, and that was 2 years or whatever. It's coming up for renewal, and I would bet my bottom dollar that it's not going to be renewed. I'm sure it was not. It was about a year after the election. They did not renew the station license.
So I guess, Mr. Banks, the point is, if you don't follow the principles of journalism because of following the principles of journalism, following them for your own survival is probably wise as well.
Well, yeah. But I think that has to be very, very, very balanced, and that's one of the way to survive. And I heard you, April, mention about reporting, government news or whatever it is. It all has to be balanced, and you have to. But I think paramount is community. The community needs to know what's going on in the community. They need to know the news. And my mind goes back again to when we first started to prepare hurricane. I heard that came up a little while ago. Hurricane preparedness information, and from the political, we started getting pushback. You're going to frighten everybody. You're frightening everybody. Because we were telling them, basically what could be expected in an emergency, a hurricane emergency. You're going to frighten everybody. And we had to push back. We said, no, we're not going to frighten everybody. And we were really running the commercials pretty heavy. So I said, all right. I told, Darn, okay. And we'll discuss it. Okay, we'll pull it back a little bit, but we're not taking it off. We might have, instead of putting 10 PSAs on a day or 15, whatever it is, we probably did 12 or 13 or 14. We got the information out. And I think over the years, that has really benefited the Cayman Island public. And when you get into these kind of situations. So that's basically my little for the day.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Banks, for that. And April Shanda, I think that segues into what this WhatsApp message is saying, but equally the notion that journalism is supposed to be impartial, objective, factual. and the information needs to be timely and responsible. This listener says regarding Radio Cayman, says while we may listen to other stations for entertainment, when it comes to the real important issues such as world news, hurricane reports, election reports, or reliable details on COVID 19, the only station most people tune into is Radio Cayman. That fact speaks volumes for your reliability and credibility in the most important times. It says, thank you, Radio Cayman, for being there for us when it is most critical. You are indispensable. I read that, and perhaps with Mr. Banks's last comments, a couple of things come to mind. We see it very evident now in the reporting across the globe, whether it's our own political briefings, with the panel or the others across the globe, how the world and the citizens in those particular countries are almost glued. We're seeing the political pundits, the politicians, and their handlers as puppet masters, very, very much looking at it as, this is a show for ratings. So how do we skew it, irrespective of what is being said and shared? Can I then ask then, is it more important than ever, respectfully, given the comment, Ms. April, that you shared that getting on air at that time the bar was high. Um, for some of us, we just wanted to look good. We have an agenda that we're trying to, you know, parlay. For some of us, it's about us, right? For others, we take it seriously. This is the fourth estate. This is the highest of callings in a sense, because you're expected to always be, as the writer says, objective, impartial, factual, so that people have accurate information. They don't need this nonsense that can frighten and fleeing, and otherwise just divide. Where are we in this world of now, in Cayman in particular, making sure that the journalists are actual journalists and not just talking heads, morons without minds?
Well, here's the thing. Ultimately, that's a decision for the listeners and the viewers to make, right? So, and I've had some conversations about this in the past, about licensing journalists or regulating journalism. Well, I've never worked anywhere where journalists were regulated, per se. If you aren't doing a very good job, you don't stay as a reporter or journalist very long. When you get hired by an entity, normally they check your credentials and see what you've done before and what your experience level is. If people don't listen or follow or share or respond to the content made by a particular journalist, that journalist will go away inevitably because there's no purpose for them to be there. So I think, from my perspective, you just do the best work you can and let the chips fall where they may.
But then, Shanda, I'm sorry. Do you wish to weigh in?
No, go ahead. I agree. I agree with April on that.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it is what you take away as a listener. Our job is to ensure that our stories are on facts, not opinions, science, not speculation, and that we're providing content that is, like we've mentioned, balanced, objective. And, to the caller that called earlier regarding polarization of media, the political leanings of many media sources, it have been an issue for many years. And with the challenge of being balanced, and as, Mr. Banks, who really also saw potential in me, and he was the one that also allowed me to stay on to Radio Cayman and make something of myself. He set the standard, and many of our directors and managers here at Radio Cayman have set the standard very high, so that we are doing the best that we can, providing the best that we can, and not being biased in any way, not showing.
Oh, Shanda, not fair. That. Sometimes we are biased. It is not intentional, and that's why there's a group of us to look over each other's shoulders. To be fair,
yes, and that is why the editorial process is there, and I appreciate that more and more each day, because we're not just putting any and everything out on air. We're doing our diligence and ensuring that what we put out is standard always. And yes, there are times when we're fighting because we're like, nope, we want this on. No, we want this one on. We have a lot goes on. A lot goes on behind the scenes, but it's all for the greater good and for the best output each and every day.
And I'm more aspirational than Shanda because I'm older now, so I have trouble with absolutes. I say we aspire to, and each day we come in with that intent. Some days we do a fantastic job. Some days I bang my head against the wall because I didn't do this, or I didn't see this, that, or the other. But our goal is always focused on trying to do the best we can to serve the people who are listening. And I think, human beings are fallible. Even with the best of intent, there are sometimes you are not going to fully achieve what you set out to do. But my dad did teach me that you got to keep heading for the light, because if you spend all your time looking back at the darkness, that's exactly where you're going to stay.
If I'm still in the loop here, I just want to make one other comment.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think it must have been something you read that came in WhatsApp or whatever this high tech stuff is now. Mentioned entertainment. I think somewhere I heard that.
Yes, sir.
Radio came in and present some highly entertaining programs. So I think the comment that came in about entertaining was kind of what people say wishy-washy, but no. Radio Cayman and Breeze provides highly entertaining programs. All you got to do is listen, and I'll take my leave.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you. And I know, Ms. Shanda, Ms. April, you have to, although you are working hard now, at work as it were, you got a few extra minutes until 1:30 till you get back upstairs and get back into the foxhole as it were. But if I could just ask in closing, I've said this all the time with great pride. We admire and respect not just the job and the reporting of Radio Cayman, but the role it has tried to play in attracting, even before they were formalized, sort of apprenticeship programs or work experiences, to get people through the studio to, at the very least, get a semblance of what radio and journalism is like from the radio perspective. Now more than ever, when we're looking at reporting and the like, how can we get more Caymanians to understand not just that it's a lucrative, rewarding career, financial and otherwise, but how significantly important it is?
Well, I think you did that in the wrong order, Dwayne, because if I were going for lucrative, there are other fields I would have chosen. I'm not starving to death, but I will say this to you. That is not the reason to be in this industry. This isn't, to be frank, yes, I mean, I could, I suppose, make an equal amount of money doing something that is less stressful in some ways. The bigger picture here is, can I make a living serving the community in this way? And one of the problems that I see, and I have seen for many years in Cayman, has a lot to do with the size of our population. So if an entity is fully reliant on advertising dollars to survive, and you want to pay people decent wages, there's only so much capacity in a newsroom. There's only so many people you can have in the market. So the challenge really is, do I train a bunch of people for a job that doesn't exist and may not exist for some time? And so I think that is something that needs to be addressed in some form. And I suppose ultimately that will fall to those of us who are in the industry. So the challenge is, do I really want to encourage a bright young mind to train for a field where there is no work for 20 years or that they can't advance upwardly over time? If it's someone whose goal is to make a living serving the community in this way, it's a bit easier to do, but you still have that reality. A small market only has so many jobs, and the time it takes to get to a certain skill level in journalism, by then many of our young Caymanians have moved on to something else that is paying them more money today. So it is a challenge.
Right, darling? I always say you got to love what you do. You got it. That's the best Cayman way I could say that. You've got to love what you do, and you have to have a passion for it, because as April have said, it's very limited, this particular industry. And while if you are looking to serve your community, there has to be like other ways to want to expand or to grow, and other ways and other means, but yeah, there's got to be a greater appreciation for what you do.
And traditional media isn't the only way. Let me make that clear. It's, in my 20s, I had a child at 24. So my willingness to take a certain amount of risk in my jobs did change because I had a child at that age. And so when you start to have family responsibilities and those sorts of things, you're going to look for a more stable, if you can, journalistic enterprise to work for. But there are other options. You can start your own business. You can create your own publication. I mean, technology's changed. It's easier now than ever to throw a website up and populate it with content. So I mean, for the innovative and the creative, there are options. But for mainstream journalism, it is a small pool, and so it can't just be, gee, I want to be on the radio, or gee, I want to be on air. It really has to be, or TV. You have to really feel the calling, I think.
Well, what's that song? If you can't be the one you love the one you're with.
I can't quite make the analogy, but I'm not getting that one, Sterling. But what I do want to say is it is such an important role, and that's why it is a struggle, because if you're just doing it to clock in and out, you probably aren't going to enjoy it very much.
And April, we don't really clock in and out. It's not a typical 9-to-5 job and schedule. We're working around the clock. It's part of what we've signed up for. And yes, April mentioned it. She's a little older. You mentioned it. You are a little older.
I'm a little older.
I knew it was coming back. I knew it was coming back.
But the beauty is appreciating the days and moments when you have the challenges. And when you have the news that is breaking, and you're just kept busy and you're kept challenged, and also there's so many just different innovative ways to love what you do, and to see yourself expanding and growing within what you're doing. So you see it for what it is, and then you can also see the beauty in what oftentimes is not seen or oftentimes not heard.
Plus, we get paid to talk for a living, we get paid to meet people for a living, and we get paid to share their stories. And I think, if I didn't have to earn a living, I would probably still do it for free.
Okay.
Like I said.
Probably.
Charlene, if I may, I was recently on a roundtable discussion with a few of the local journalists here, Kayla Young and Reshma Raghunath, and we were talking about what we take away with our job being so demanding and so busy, is the camaraderie between, our colleagues and the general public. The Cayman kind that we receive on those briefings, or when we have, quote unquote, clocked out, and we get the calls from listeners or from the general public, when we see that people are reaching out and saying, hey, how can I help with this, or what was that number again for this organization, when we see that day in and day out, it helps us to appreciate our job so much more. We walk away, April and I, at the end of the day, we're happy. We find joy in the simple things and the stories that we produce that put a smile on our face, and those are the little things, especially hearing not just the news, but we're hearing sports, we're hearing what people in and around sports are doing in times of need. Just hearing those stories, seeing and hearing how people are connecting even more now during these days, it makes the job a lot easier, and it allows us to walk away or step away for a moment and sort of relax and breathe, because we know that we're doing our job and we're doing it right.
All right. Well, listen, I certainly appreciate you joining us. Thank you for sharing your time with us. And if you would publicly accept an invite to maybe come on again when your schedules allow, hopefully it'll encourage more Caymanians to consider, radio in particular, but journalism in general, and to value the importance of it, especially now when it seems like everybody, can be a citizen journalist. and everybody with an ego can sort of parlay their little craft into something. So who knows, right? The professionalism, it might still be the standard. Ms. April, thank you very much, Mom.
Thank you so much for allowing us, Sterling. We really appreciate it.
My honor and pleasure. Ms. Shanda, equally, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dwayne.
All right. To our listeners, let's pause and take a break. When we come back, if the time allows, we'll have some open line for the remainder of the program, which should hit us up until 2:30. Who's going to call and share their thoughts? There is no prize other than the fact that your thoughts are important. Your comments are crucial. And as you share your thoughts with us, maybe we'll be inspired. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Green Turtle, modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
Like most of you, I'm at home with the family. We're cooking more, washing more, spending more time on our computers, and the air conditioning units are running more than normal. If I keep this up, my electricity bill will remain high. I'm signing up to MyCUC on www.cuc-cayman.com so I can monitor my daily usage. I need to be in control of how much electricity I'm using so that I can manage how much money I spend. Some things need to unplug in this house, and we can't run this AC all day, you hear?
These are stressful times. We can all use a little break from the stress.
I got ice cream for you.
Did you know, according to Science Times, eating ice cream in moderation can help reduce stress? You're not dreaming. You heard correct. Ladies, gentlemen, and kids alike, Cayman Ice Cream is here to save your day. With home delivery of the best homemade ice cream on the island. Quality assurance guaranteed. $10 half-gallon tubs of crepe nut, rum and raisin, vanilla, cookies and cream, banana, strawberry, and Guinness. Call 323-0861 to place your Cayman Ice Cream order now and feel the stress melt away. Indulge in your dreams today. Cayman Ice Cream, 323-0861.
Cayman Ice Dream is also available in all supermarkets.
Babes to Teens. Let's do it! Step into Babes to Teens and you will find great clothing and other items at affordable prices for Babes to Teens. We will take you from baby registry and every age in between straight up to teen. Browse for clothing and accessories. Drop by today and get those hard-to-find pieces for your child at Babes to Teens. Located at number 8 Plaza Venetia, North Sound Way. Telephone 946-8157. Opened Monday to Saturday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Customers are required to wear masks and be mindful of social distancing while shopping in store.
Who's next?
We are now in the hurricane season, and to survive a hurricane, you need to be informed. If you have been informed by official sources that a hurricane is approaching the Cayman Islands, and you live in a low-lying area that is prone to flooding or near the beaches, which may be swept by high tides or storm waves, please seek a safe place and high ground. If the only way for you to get to a safe place is a road that is also likely to be flooded during a storm, please leave home early. Don't run the risk of being stranded. This has been a public service announcement from your community station, Radio Cayman.
All residents are asked to stay at home unless you have permission to work, have to go to a medical facility, pharmacy, bank, or supermarket. If you must go out, remember to stay at least 6 feet from other persons who are not members of your household. This reduces the risk of transmission, whether or not a person with coronavirus is showing symptoms. Everyone must wear face masks or other face coverings while taking public transportation, inside buildings, or other public spaces. For more information and to view the new regulations in full, go to www.gov.ky/coronavirus. Green Turtle, modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
We are here for you. Whether you are in extreme financial need, have lost your job, have been directly or indirectly affected by the pandemic, we are here. The Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan is here to assist through the Cayman Islands Government Emergency Withdrawal Program. To withdraw, visit chamberpension.ky and complete the online application form by filling in your personal details, the amount you wish to withdraw, and upload a notarized government ID such as your passport or driver's license. For information as it happens, visit chamberpension.ky or follow our social media pages on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. We thank you for your patience as we address the high volume of email and phone queries. The Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. You can count on us.
Wow, looks good. What is that?
Chicken share.
What did you just say to me?
Chicken share.
I am not a chicken.
Whoa! I said chicken share. It's from KFC. Bucket of 12 hot wings, 6 pieces of chicken, or 8 tenders. KFC chicken share. Just $12 each.
Oh.
Want some chicken, tenders, or hot wings?
You're sharing your chicken share with me?
The new chicken share from KFC. Just $12 each. And it's finger licking good. Dine at KFC Baytown Plaza, KFC Shedden Road, or KFC at the Strand.
Oh gosh.
Don't let the stress of taking care of loved ones get you down.
Home care, now made easier with Cayman Medical Supplies. 100% Caymanian owned. Cayman Medical Supplies now stocks a wide range of home care supplies. Hospital beds, all types of wheelchairs, including beach access wheelchairs, lifts, commodes, shower chairs, walkers, Curad brand orthopedic supplies. Free blood glucose monitors with the purchase of 1 pack of test strips, blue underpads, and a whole lot more.
Need home care convenience? Drop by Cayman Medical Supplies at 93 Smith Road, Windward Center, or call 949-6211. Free delivery.
We know there has been a lot of changes, and Cayman Medical Supplies is here for the community. From gloves and sanitizers to mandatory supplies, including masks. Hours are now Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturday, 9 a.m. till noon. Free delivery island-wide.
At Cayman National, we care about public health, ours and yours. We ask you to please wear a mask when visiting our locations, as we look forward to serving you in a safer environment. Remember, we're in this together, and it will take all of our help to make the Cayman community healthy again. Thank you for making Cayman National your bank of choice.
Fishing is permitted between the hours of 5:15 a.m. and 7 p.m. through Saturday, 6th June. Starting Sunday, 7th June, the restriction on the use of boats for fishing will be relaxed in Grand Cayman and Cayman Brac and will permit fishing between the hours of 4:45 a.m. and 9 p.m. each day of the week, including Sunday, but no more than 6 persons may be on a boat. In Cayman Brac, boats may also be used for leisure during these times, but inter-island travel by boat is not permitted. No fishing, no boating or congregating is being permitted at Stingray City, Starfish Point, Rum Point, or the Sandbar. This means that a person may not anchor any boat, exercise on the beach, fish or swim, or carry out any activities in any of those areas. This restriction does not impact beachside residents exercising at those locations.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program, because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. It is open line as we invite you to call and share your thoughts with us. 949-8037 or toll free at 1-800-534-8255. There's no political briefing set for today, so we head down on straight to 2:30. God's willing, you can call and share your thoughts and give us, your perspective. What better way to share in what should be a healthy, stable democracy than to be able to openly, publicly, and very immediately share your sentiments with the rest of our society. So 9498037 or toll free with 1-800-534-8255. The close of the program yesterday, when we were talking about, the move by the government through, I guess, the management of the Red Cross to have an umbrella for the registration of the charitable endeavors. We received this comment and apologies to the writer for not being able to send it through then and there. But I want to share the comment and see what you equally think. Says existing charities are communicating and collaborating regarding the distribution of food. Charities with unique goals will not agree to fall under one umbrella. There's too much danger in one organization having sensitive personal data on all organizations and their clients. There's also a risk that if the organization collecting the data is related to government, politicians will be given the food vouchers and the whole effort will become political. Red Cross should focus on shelter. Now, what are your thoughts? 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. It's open line. You call to share your thoughts with us, weighing on any sentiment that you think is, not just important, but especially timely, given all that we're facing, whether here in Cayman, or whether in the region, whether we see around the globe. You may have a perspective. You may consider that this is such an opportune time that despite all, the bad and the negative things that have transpired in history that maybe have unfolded and is unfolding, that we can do something very positive and very productive, very meaningful and profound that gives not just today, but for generations a better sense of hope and prosperity, not just economically, but socially, not just politically, but environmentally. So as we look at things that are happening, well, I've always asked, what is it that you would do if you could do it? Well, here's a time to share because somebody might actually be listening and believe that, your idea is the best thing, as they say, since sliced bread. Too often we are afraid to voice our views because we may be ridiculed, ostracized, or somehow just believe that because we say this thing that others may think negatively of us. But if we don't share our thoughts, it may not inspire others. If we don't share our thoughts, it may not, you know, resonate in such a way that something good comes of it. And sadly, too many times, very great, impactful, beneficial things go unheeded and go undone because they're never said nor attempted. Well, share your thoughts with us. We also want to share a few sentiments following Mr. Roy Borden's appearance on the program on Monday. I received a number of very positive, encouraging comments about him, about his contribution, not just from the cultural historian's perspective, from the educator's perspective, from the parliamentarian's perspective, but for being an active member of our community who is still contributing. Equally, I was inspired by the handful of comments as well when Honorable Mayor Lawrence shared her perspective as well. A few of these sentiments I just put together says, especially enjoy Mr. Borden's comments about employment and the need to revamp our development bank. This one shares that, for us to really move forward, we really need a comprehensive strategic plan, one that looks at, the use of our land and zoning and revise in a timely manner. Further, let's go into the idea that a population growth management plan, looking at, our whole issue of education and where our population growth and development should be. This one shares that we have for too long moved forward without any kind of clear long-term vision, where we want to go, what we want our country to look like, and whether or not the quality of living, the standard that we want for our society is properly identified and shared. Uh, so, what is your view? 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255, or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. A good friend, Paul Akal, sits in today and helps us out. So he's there, a different voice, but the same level of, you know, professionalism and expertise that we have. 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. Let's pause quickly and take this next break. When we come back, more Talk Today.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
I've got some beautiful clothes.
Puritan Cleaners is pleased to announce the opening and closing hours of their 2 branches. Now open 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Mondays to Saturdays, Savannah Countryside, 946-1884. Arboretum Plaza, Elgin Avenue, 949-2452 will be opened until 2 p.m. on Saturdays. These hours will be in place while we monitor customers' demands after reopening. Also, seamstress on duty to do your repairs and adjustments. Our main store, 337 Eastern Avenue, Georgetown, will be opened from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Mondays to Saturdays. Telephone 949-7104. Any input from our customers will be much appreciated. Puritan Cleaners, you feel good when you look good. Healthcare Pharmacy cares about your health throughout COVID-19 regulations. Our Grand Harbor location is open from Monday to Saturday, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Our Governor Square Pharmacy on 7 Mile Beach is open from Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Please ensure you wear a mask when entering our pharmacies and practice safe distancing. Call ahead to refill your prescriptions or go to www.healthcarepharmacy.ky to refill and transfer prescriptions online. You can also WhatsApp your refill or transfer 329-7313.
During these challenging times, it can be easy to lose sight of all we have to be grateful for. From the police service members of the National Emergency Operations Center, healthcare workers, the DEH, grocery and pharmacy attendants, to the many acts of Cayman kindness. Along with the daily Kung Call at 6:59 p.m., Radio Cayman invites the community to call in to Talk Today to share their stories and experiences. Whether you have a family member on the front line and wish to give them a shout out, or if you have a personal experience of Cayman kindness, we want to hear from you. Talk Today airs Mondays through Friday from 12:15 to 2:30 p.m. Call 1-800-534-8255 or WhatsApp 925-3261.
Home, which should be a haven, can even be less of a safe space during curfew if someone is experiencing child abuse. If you or anyone you know is being abused, help is nearby. For emergencies, call 911. They will redirect your call to the relevant agencies. For general guidelines and inquiries, call the Multi-Agency Safeguarding Hub, MASH, at 1-800-534-2273 or 945-0545. Alternatively, email mash@gov.ky.
Travel between the 3 Cayman Islands remains restricted until further notice. Persons may only travel between Grand Cayman, Cayman Brac, and Little Cayman to provide essential services or for emergency medical purposes. Persons traveling between any of the 3 islands may do this by contacting bractravel@gov.ky with the details of their proposed travel, including purpose of visit, length of stay, accommodations, etc. Applications will be processed on a case-by-case basis. All individuals traveling traveling to the sister islands from Grand Cayman must undergo a 14-day mandatory isolation period at a government facility. They will be tested on the 15th day, and direct transportation to the airport will be arranged if they have a negative result.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thank you for sharing with us as we invite you to call and be a part of our ongoing conversation. Let the dialogue and discussion engage our public into meaningful discourse. 949-8037. Toll free with the comprehensive flow at 1-800-534-8255. Or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. Whichever is better or the best option for you, well, go right ahead. Always interested to hear the perspective. Doesn't mean that we always agree on the best way forward, but if we can have a semblance of what that way forward should look like, what the Cayman of tomorrow would be if we work hand in hand, maybe we can get there in a very positive and productive manner. Sadly, it seems that too many of us are just about ourselves engaged in whatever it is that we can get out of the situation. Sadly, the here and the now, not even concerned about the tomorrow and the hereafters. So, what is your view? 949-8037, 949-8037, or toll free 1-800-534-8255. With that in mind, I wanted to relay a few sentiments from sort of a continuing discussion I had earlier with some individuals, some of whom are not just generationally connected to Cayman, and now for different reasons are still overseas. They couldn't make it back. They can't get back because of job commitments, even if they wanted to. Some had relocated and perhaps were considering what is the time. So a few sentiments, just toss them out there initially as bullet points, and then you weigh in. One lady said that 15 years ago, 12 years ago, she and some of her extended family decided to leave Cayman for very very personal reasons, and came back once or twice in the last 12, 15 years. Not that they didn't want to, stayed very much in contact, but circumstances being what they were, necessitated that they had to leave the island as it were. And even though, as I guess for want of a better way to phrase it, generational Caymanians, it was just what had to happen at that time for the reasons as I'm not clear. But you said there is this question as to what extent the people now who are clamoring to return to Cayman are these people who left because they were able to benefit from the circumstances, whether they received status or a passport or had funds to travel. And now, when the pasture that they ended up on isn't as green, or they don't feel that it's as safe, are they now returning to Cayman, knocking as their elderly wiser heads used to talk about, bouncing from pillar to post? Are they now come back here now to again benefit from what they believe Cayman may have to offer? Down the road, will they leave again if they don't see the benefit? Never really being connected, just taking, I guess, as someone asked a question in a discussion, like parasites, never really contributing, just sucking, the life out of everything and anything for as long as they can. Now, she shared, saying that in the way that she said it, and I tried to capture it and relate to her listeners as she did. It may seem offensive, but for those people, whether they've been here for a generation or whether just recently taken up residence, who are committed financially, socially, in every which way into our society, and they're contributing, taking the good with the bad, riding out the weather, whether it's a hurricane or just a calm day at sea. Those are the people that you want in your society. Are we cognizant? She asked the question of those who come and go, who may be now returning in this particular time that we're facing. Are they just returning because they can and it's probably safer? They can benefit from whatever the country may have to offer financially, either through the government or the private sector or other, you know, otherwise. Now, what are we looking at? What are we looking at? And what is your view? Well, 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. Is it, as she had asked, that we don't know enough about who we are as a people? Statistically, as our population changes, not even the numbers. She shared that despite being physically absent from the country for almost 15 years now, she is probably more connected and involved, quote unquote, with what's happening here because she's so far away. She makes a deliberate, conscious effort to not just follow the media and the briefings and the like, but she shared simple questions as to, well, what is our population now? Seem to have been met with an indecisive, almost inaccurate, unwanted response. Well, let's take that up after the break if you so choose. Let's go to the news when we come back. More Talk Today.
Satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
From Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman, we've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Your 2 p.m. headlines brought to you by greenturtle.ky. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have here on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice.
It is in the best interest of the people of these islands.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. Public health officials in Cayman say wearing a face mask is safe. Chief Medical Officer Dr. John Lee says he has no concerns about the safety of wearing a mask, stating, "Surgical masks are worn by surgeons for hours a day while they are doing meticulous surgery. Carbon dioxide moves away from the body with each breath." That said, Dr. Lee does not advise wearing a mask during strenuous exercise. In international news, British Airways is selling some of its multi-million-pound art collection to raise cash to help it through the coronavirus pandemic, with one work believed to have been valued at more than £1 million. BA has seen a collapse in air travel and is set to cut thousands of jobs. Statues of Confederate leaders and the explorer Christopher Columbus have been torn down in the U.S. as pressure grows on authorities to remove monuments connected to slavery and colonialism. The movement has been sparked by the death in police custody of African American George Floyd. Keanu Reeves is set to return as Neo in Matrix 4, which follows 2003's The Matrix Reloaded and The Matrix Revolutions. Reeves decided to continue with the franchise because he says it's a beautiful script and the story resonated with him. Lana and Lily Wachowski created the original 1999 film, which is now considered iconic in the sci-fi genre.
Your 2 p.m. headlines brought to you by greenturtle.ky. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
For the latest in news and information,
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Your
Green
voice,
Turtle,
your choice,
modern
your
solutions
radio.
to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile, saving lives today.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thank you for sharing with us. 949-8037 or toll free with the compliments of Flow at 1-800-534-8255. Call and share your thoughts with us. We are hitting her up till 2:30 if you want to weigh in on what's happening. Can share that we've seen some excellent things that have been transpiring thus far. Certainly, we've experienced some negative things. There are certainly some things that are concerning, not just immediately, not just the financial cost and consequences, loss of business and employment, how much debt a country will take on, but beyond the financial ramifications, the social issues and consequences, how will we interact and engage with each other going forward? What about the cost of, healthcare and the cost to our very own health and well-being? Well, let's go to the phones, though. Good afternoon. Thank you for sharing.
Good afternoon to you, Sterling.
And to you, sir. How are you today?
Fine, thank you. Very interesting, the show you had here, and always. And you're those wonderful young ladies, and Mr. Bloxley too, thanks.
Yes, sir.
Coming on, his input into it, and really came under a sterling job. Can't be lauded enough for what you all do, presentation, everything. Excellent stuff to those young, and yourself. And the unbiased approach, which you get very close to. As young Miss Cummings there said, that, there will be a bias sometimes. He's absolutely right. I've never in my life, and I'm a lot older than you all, met, except for Mr. Banks, met anyone who is not biased. Even judges, they're not completely unbiased. It's not possible. I've listened to them, and anyhow, on the news media, you're talking most about radio and maybe television, but not, say, written journalism, which is similar, but there's a difference. That when you look at the news media in say, in the United States, the giants of the free media, as we all know, and in England and some of Europe too, a lot of Europe, free media broadcast. And what I mean by free is that they can say anything. They're not repressed like the communist countries at all, and some dictatorships other than communist. But you look at CNN, a very large, popular giants here. They're obviously very biased, and most like the BBC. My opinion is what I give when I call. They're very left wing, and you would get impression from listening to CNN that's almost owned by the Democratic Party, but that's for another time. I remember Mr. Dunlop, when they first put out the ad, I think I was the very first person who answered an ad to work with it. And he was just going around at the time. It wasn't open or anything. And think about the station, planning it, and I remember in interviewing me, he did offer me the job and all that. And he said that with doing the ads, I've never forgotten this. He didn't want to sort of make it a cheapened thing. He wanted to keep it that it had some quality to the whole. His idea of the output of the station and with a format that he'll say. I remember, for example, he said we could advertise that such and such as flour for sale or rice or corned beef, but we wouldn't state that it say 80 cents a tin or 40 cents a pound or 25 cents a pound for the rice. We just state that, the product is on sale. I'm pretty sure what he said to me. Things he was just giving me, tossing out his ideas and stuff. I remember it was very interesting, and but my thing is that I'm slightly claustrophobic, so I couldn't spend an hour, 2 hours straight in a tiny room like that. It would drive me nuts, crazier than I am now. And I have to be sort of open. Even if I go to a place where it's 4 or 5 floors mostly, I walk up the staircase usually or walk. I don't like even just being in the elevator. It's not that I'm frightened to death. I just don't like the feeling. So I tossed it aside. But it's a very interesting, and I would encourage young people to go into that journalism. We don't have many Caymanian journalists in especially in the printed media, and I would like to see more of that too in that format. But definitely, there can be a bias, and when you can give your opinion and state what it is, and I noticed that there with OC and yourself many times. So you can give your opinion, and you're quite willing to listen to other people who might diverge from you almost 180 degrees. But so there's that's the quality behind the whole output of Radio Cayman, and that's why it has such a great following.
Thank you.
And I just like to put that in. But thank you very much. Have a wonderful afternoon. Listen on.
And you too, sir. You too, sir. Thank you very much. And as well, thank you, and trust you enjoy your afternoon. But as the caller shared with us, the idea that in life, in particular, and specifically when we focus on the media, I hope if you wouldn't mind an attempt on my part to give an opinion, accept the invitation as the caller sort of laid it out. I've always believed, and unless you can convince me otherwise, I'm certainly open, for the attempt. I always believe that the two most important things to a country is its education system and its healthcare system. I think that a healthy, educated populace is fundamental, is paramount to that country's economic, social, political stability. Educated, I don't mean that they all have, masters and postgraduate degrees, that they're all doctors and engineers, although that wouldn't be a bad thing if they have the skill sets and the thinking of looking at things in a analytical, objective, impartial manner. But we want the artists, of all sorts. So we want our people to fulfill, their full potential and to understand the value of knowledge, for them to develop it and to share it, but also as they go about gaining it, to benefit from that experience as well. But they have to be healthy mentally, physically, socially, spiritually, financially. The health and the welfare of our people and their education, knowledge, experience, and expertise. And through that, we will probably see so much better in our society that the need for certain policing measures would not be there, because perhaps the ethos is that you don't do that. That comes from a sense of understanding, awareness, knowledge, the notion that you don't have ever a case, not because it isn't enforced or is overlooked, but because it never happens, of people littering, for instance. The idea that people recycle isn't because there's laws that punish you, simply because it is the understanding, and so much more, again, because of the sense, as it were, within the society. And with that in mind, could we consider, as we invite our children and our students to look at all of the careers, to look at journalism specifically now, when we think that here is something that is transpiring, and this is probably no different than if the government was going to be announcing a new measure to borrow, you know, a lot of money, whether it's to build an infrastructure project that may have the community support fully, or it may be one that is controversial. But the media, the journalists, can objectively, can intelligently or represent the public's views in asking questions and investigating and reporting in a very factual, timely, informative, objective, impartial manner, which sadly I think we've seen is lacking just generally now for different reasons. Well, let's pause and take a short break. When we come back, if you're inclined, we invite you to call and share your thoughts and weigh in with us. There may be something completely different that you want to talk about. It may not be important to anybody else other than to you. I would venture to say that if it's important to you, it probably is important to others. But at the very least, because it's important to you, well, it's important. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Green Turtle, modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile, saving lives today.
It's not Toolfest at A.L. Thompson's, but it's almost as good. Toolfest has been an annual 2-day event since 2009, but because of current events, there will be no live demos. But that's okay, because what will be at Not Toolfest is the deepest discounts of the year on select hand tools and power tools for 3 weeks. Save big on tools by Makita, Milwaukee, Bosch, Skill, Dremel, and other power brands, and get 15% off all items in the tools department now through July 4th. Remember that Father's Day is June 21st, so give him a big boy toy from A.L. Thompson's during Not Toolfest.
Headlines. With the latest headlines.
One of Cayman's bright and shining young stars.
Local, regional, international.
Headlines.
Turning to international news. Updates on the hour between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. on weekdays. All the news when you want it. Tune in to Radio Cayman for hourly headlines of the day's top stories.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
The Cayman Islands government wishes to advise the public that they will continue to distribute reusable cloth masks across the Cayman Islands with the assistance of the RCIPS Community Police Officer and Community Safety Officer in your areas. Members of the public living in gated stratas are asked to contact the Community Policing Department at the Georgetown Police Station on 649-4222 to arrange delivery or collection of their mask. Stay safe, Cayman.
Hi, this is Danny Coleman, Director of Hazard Management Cayman Islands. We are now in the hurricane season, and for information on how to prepare and stay safe, please visit our website, www.caymanprepared.ky. Some top tips to bear in mind, given that we are still in the midst of COVID-19. Please make sure you have a mask and sanitizer, you have food supplies to last for 3 to 5 days, a portable radio, personal hygiene and sanitation items, and medical supplies, and any other specific items your family may need during a hurricane. Make sure you know where you will shelter in the event of a storm. If you have pets, please make sure provisions are in place for them too, as the majority of shelters will not take pets. Please visit our website for more tips and tricks on www.caymanprepared.ky or call us on 945-4624. Stay safe, Cayman.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Thank you for sharing with us, and thank you for keeping our company. Hopefully, as you've enjoyed your Thursday thus far, it's been very positive and productive. Looking forward to Friday, and as we go into the weekend, come Monday, it's a public holiday. Well, maybe you've got plans. Maybe now with things unfolding the way they are, you no longer have to choose between the backyard and the front porch. Respectfully, if I can ask, as you go about, let's do a couple of things. Let's always endeavor to be safe and sincere in our movements. Let's always be appreciative and welcoming, inviting, accommodating, and respectful of others. And let's recognize that whatever changes we've made here that make us better, stronger, healthier, safer, secure, let's not, get back to any bad practices that before this. Now, it may not be as easy to do, but if we can look at what things were like before, instead of going back to them if they weren't good, well, could we make them better? There are those of us who probably have just out of the sheer need to get outside in the sun, to physically move and exercise, we did so because we didn't want to be locked up, locked away. Well, if we were starting to exercise, let's continue that because it'll make us healthier physically and mentally. Can we keep doing that up? Now, the roads are becoming increasingly congested once again. Perhaps we liked the fact that there were less traffic on the roads, not only because there was less pollution, but they were actually safer to ride and to walk and to move about. Well, is that something we could do? How can we put our energies together to consider making the roadways safer? Sometimes it's as simple as seeing bad driving and making sure that it is corrected, it's reported, and that it is properly prosecuted. The other day, for instance, I'm driving along. I've always believed that my father's counsel is absolutely, excellent wisdom and advice from him. He says, when you're driving, remember you're driving for yourself and all the other drivers. So just because you're doing the right thing, don't for one second believe that somebody else might inadvertently or foolishly do something else that creates, a hazard for you. So I'm driving along a very straight, piece of road, thankfully not going fast. There's a small side road to my left, a very, very prominently placed stop sign, expecting that the vehicle approach the intersection and would stop. Well, lo and behold, it didn't. Now, is it because the few inches between, me and the other car he could easily pull into? Perhaps because he feels that, well, he doesn't have to do that. That stop sign is for somebody else, not for him. That driver just came right out. Now, thankfully, it wasn't a fast moving vehicle on any part, and an accident was narrowly avoided. But the ignorance, arrogance, insolence, whatever you want to say, could I say stupidity, in consideration of some of us as we use our roads. Now, maybe we're just completely inattentive, but in any event, whether the accident is only, thankfully, a minor fender bender, is still an inconvenience and an expense. Again, what do we do as individuals to make things that much better? If we do it and we improve ourselves, each one that was to work on ourselves, then wouldn't it be better for all? Again, sounds naive, probably is, but how simple. I'll think back to when we have less cars on the road and we're riding our bikes with our children, or we're exercising for ourselves, or we're just out, you know, about and about. If the roads are safer, isn't that better for all of us? Now, as the employer or as the employees in the organization, is it possible? I've said this before, and some of you I know very, very cheekily, some of you very tauntingly have said, "Oh man, that's just a bad idea. What are you?" Well, I suggested a 4-day work week. I've seen the research published that it is beneficial, it's productive, it is absolutely good for the economics, for the environment, and equally for the individual. Well, maybe now that we're working from home, I don't for one minute believe it's necessarily easier, and there are many that can attest to that in different ways, but it may have improved the quality of life. For instance, less on people on the road, and so your commute, instead of being an hour, is the 10 or 15 minutes that it should be, because of the distance that you're traveling is only probably 10 feet. And you can get up the same time. Maybe you get time to exercise earlier, have breakfast with the family, play with the children, maybe just meditate and relax Perhaps when you get into the office, instead of being frustrated because you were there for an hour, you know, in traffic, now you're in a better mood and mindset, and that disposition not only carries over to the way you interact with your colleagues, but with your clients as well. If it improves your quality of life, then it's a good thing. So maybe you can have a case where going forward, you don't have to be in the office every day. Maybe you can be in the office only one day, or maybe there's just one day of the week that you, well, you know, can be at home as long as the job gets done in a timely, accurate, efficient, effective manner. Perhaps should be the mantra. Now, what other things have we seen of this? And I've always believed that we need to look at it completely. So we look at the good things and can we improve them? We look at the bad things and can we, instead of avoiding, you know, the fact that they're there, we acknowledge them, we address them, and we try to implement things to correct them. Well, a few minutes left of the program. Why not give us a shout and share your thoughts? 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. Mr. Carl, sir, I know you're busy doing all the good stuff behind the scenes. Any thoughts on your part that you want to weigh in and engage with us? How are you today, sir? You know, it's always good to invite your
But
colleagues. There you are, sir. There you
yeah,
are.
yeah,
What's up,
yeah.
man?
Well, nothing much, just checking out, what other production I have to do on the side, just and choosing some music at just about after 2:30. So
Yeah, man, yeah, man. And I ordinarily would be able to look through the window and see what's, and I do appreciate sharing that because I think you're doing this, but as you're doing and you shared, you've got all the other production, you've got the programming to do to make sure things happen. You're just not just sitting there. And I think if I could ask you, if you don't mind me putting you on the spot somewhat, Mr. April said earlier that in the early days, there was a transition trying to figure out, what to do to find some semblance of order and systems and the like. And the notion that for a while, you were kind of, all of us, running around frantically trying to figure out, perhaps being unnecessarily stressed and the like. Could I ask you for now, how is it for you, this whole exercise that we're all sort of experiencing?
this COVID,
It's not even what I want to use, my friend. Yeah.
the year, all I can say is the year started off good and just went downhill. I mean, it takes a while to adjust to this new normalcy.
Hmm.
I mean,
Hmm.
we all have to wear our mask when we go in public, but I can't
Yeah.
breathe in it. I just
It's
can't.
struggling.
Struggling to
Yeah.
breathe. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. A friend of mine sent, I guess the young people call it a meme. It's a picture with some words on it, right?
Mm.
And say, more than ever, we need to have truth in advertising legislation with serious punishment for those who offend the law. It was a picture of a blimp and it had good year on it. And she says, what a lie. It's not a good year.
No.
So that attempt that she sent me at laughter was wonderful, right? But isn't that the case that things are not thus far what we expected nor imagined? You
No
know,
way. No way. No way. Didn't imagine things to be this way at all.
yeah, man. And yet, if you speak to some of us and they feel comfortable enough to share, they probably would have said that, for the longest time, there was a restlessness in their spirit. They felt uneasy. They felt like something wasn't right. Didn't know what it was. Not that they were necessarily being prescient or, prophetic, but they just didn't feel, as they normally would. Who knows? Maybe they had some sort of sense of foreshadow something coming up.
Mm-hmm.
With that though, you're always a very positive. You know, I want to say it this way, but I'll change and say it in another way. There's a great engaging smile on you always, right? So when you look down the road, for you, is it 6 months or 18 months before you see things, being back to what you would consider to be how you would like it?
I would I would say about 9 months.
You split the
But
difference on me.
yeah, yeah. It would
The
take
birth.
is gonna be with us for a while. This is gonna be, topsy turvy for a little while.
So
Even though we try to get back to some kind of normalcy, it's still gonna be,
yeah.
up in the air.
Well, I won't ask of you because I don't wish to put you any further, but what I would ask of our listeners is to be willing to engage in very meaningful public commentary on what they think this thing should be, and don't just leave it for the political leadership or the business leadership or even the leadership in the churches or wherever, because I think we all are going to be affected and impacted by this and we all have something to contribute.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, Dr. I think it was Dr. Samuel Williams Rodriguez yesterday, the medical officer of health. Was it yesterday? No, that was Monday, was it? No, it was it.
Yeah, I
Anyway,
think the Monday. Yeah.
it was a Monday. Why, I don't say that disrespectfully. Just that one day and the next, he said that there was one individual who, through her physician's advice, have been given exemption from wearing the mask, and we know from what you just shared, so many other people find that mask suffocating. They want to wear it. They want to make sure that they're safe and they keep others safe, but it's challenging, right? And for many of us, there's so much things that we got to try to understand. So hopeful as we talk publicly and question things and try to invite, positive responses and answers, that we don't only look at the now and the immediate. Now, could I ask then, from that perspective, what would we do if it was up to you that would make the 9 months from now, that better, that much better? What do you think?
It's a tough question.
Yeah, best players ask good questions, though.
I mean, we gotta go the distance. If we gotta practice social distancing, the face mask, the sanitization, we gotta keep up with that for as long as possible. It's working. Well, I mean, the cases are, not that intense in terms of 7 people or 8 people or more per day. It's spread out over a period of time. Yes, it's in the community. Yes, we gotta continue practicing social distancing. It's gonna be like this for a little while longer, But
yeah, man.
I mean, thankfully, everyone is asymptomatic. I don't know if it's the salty air or the fresh breeze, the sun. It's a plus for us here,
Yeah, man. Well, I see some great things. I may be encouraged at some point to share more, opinion, but hopefully from an informed perspective. My fear isn't anything other than the fact that some would you know, sort of understand the intention, because we still live amongst people who are, weak-minded and for whom, they're so personally, their personalities are such that they don't seem to understand the importance of having meaningful, constructive differences of opinion,
Yeah.
But it's like the music you play in the morning that energizes us if we're exercising or, otherwise. You have to look at what does it say? The race isn't for the swift nor the faint of heart. Think of Muhammad Ali when he stepped into the ring. It was a 15-round bout, unlike Tyson, who wanted to knock you out in the first 5 seconds. Ali was prepared to go the distance, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So as you said, 9 months from now is like a birth. So we're in it for the long haul. My good friend, thanks for sharing with us, man. What final thoughts you want to share?
Oh, everybody just keep safe,
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Hey, thank you for letting me pull you into it. And to our listeners, sometimes the voice of reason is that one that you have yet to utter. Sometimes it is the fact that what you have to say, you just need to be courageous enough to share it. Other times, and I would say equally important, you just got to sit and listen, because that small, still, quiet voice sometimes gets drowned out by all the noise. Fox, thank you very much. And hopefully tomorrow, God willing, we'll have another excellent show.
Yeah, man.
All right, man. To our listeners, join us tomorrow. We'll start off our conversation with our good friends from the Department of Children and Family Services. We're going to look after our elderly and explain the importance of being loving, nurturing, caring, and concerning for them. Mr. Art is in the morning, right, Fox? So join us for him and his continued input. Until then, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Fidelity Bank. For all your banking needs, visit fidelitygroup.com. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Also brought to you by greenturtle.ky. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile, saving lives today.